What's up guys, Moneth here and I'm back for another video. This time around we're going to be covering the concluding portion of today's Smogon tour. If you go over to the thread, we can go over to the thread right now. Might take a second to load. Wrong thread at that. Guess this is a bit unprofessional, but I can't be brought to care too much. Now looking at the tour right now, the OP isn't updated, but it's Sakri beat False, who beat McMegan, and EO beat Pogus and Lusa, and he's about to play We Three Kings. I believe Ryza beat Alpha, Adri beat Sabella, Zokru beat Vulpix, and Quaze beat Mimolette. I think the Quaze game is still up here, yeah. Yeah, Mimolette beat Beach Quiz. And then now we've got the game between EO and We Three Kings. Looking at this preview, the team preview, let's pause it really quickly and go to the first turn. We Three Kings is using a pretty, typical, rain team of his, with, Rocks, Jirachi, looks like a Protect, Poison, Heal, Breloom, either Substitute or Agility Thunderous, Scarf Keldeo, Lefty's Politoed, Standard Tentacruel, I'd assume Toxic Spikes, with, Bulk Up Drain, Punch Facade, Breloom. Then EO's using a pretty standard Reuniclus Sand, probably with Lefty's Excadrill, Scarf Lando, Specs Lottie, Rocks, T-Tar, Spikes, Pharaoh, and then CM Reuniclus, with Thunder and HP Ice, though Psyshock plus Focus Blast is still fine. EO switches hard into Lando on the Protect from Breloom, likely doubling out, predicting a switch to Jirachi. A bit of an odd choice considering that a lot of these are running Protect nowadays, but EO is U-turning back out to Latios, knowing that with Protect, these aren't really going to be running Spore, so Latios is a very free switch in. And he's doubling back out to Tyranitar again when We Three Kings goes out to Jirachi. They trade Stealth Rock here. EO's probably going into Reuni or Excadrill, depending. He elects to go into Reuniclus here. The fact that he went into it on that leads me to believe it has Thunder. And EO does switch out to Ferrothorn here, but it's obviously forced out. And We Three Kings uses Bulk Up. If this is HP Ice Reuni, EO can beat it pretty comfortably, as We Three Kings likely just Facades, or Seed Bombs rather. So that leads me to believe it's not Toxic Spikes Tentacruel, and I assume that We Three Kings elected to go for Seed Bomb over Facade just due to the pretty high Jellicent usage in yesterday's Smogon tour. And Seed Bomb's a solid choice, obviously. It obviously hits ghost types and has decent damage output versus a lot of targets, but has the obvious downside of not being able to hit Latios particularly hard, as EO just smashes something with Draco, takes 36% off of the Jirachi, and is likely gonna pivot out into his Excadrill here. We Three Kings should probably go out to Keldeo or Breloom, as he does go out to Breloom here. And he still hasn't seen which Reuniclus set it's running, whether that be Psyshock or Bolt Beam, as EO does elect to Calm Mind up here, so it looks like we'll see him going into Excadrill now on the Wish, so EO will get these rocks off, which is very good for his Latios. And it looks like We Three Kings has gone into his Thunderous. That's actually pretty significant. The damage, obviously, because there is no Mold Breaker message, this is Sandforce Excadrill. And I'm judging by the fact that the Thundurus was slower that it's Agility Thundurus with Toxic Tentacruel, because you obviously substitute Thundurus runs enough speed to outspeed Lefty's Excadrill, unless it's Modest, of course. Um, as now he switches out to Politoed on the predicted attack, and it doesn't work out. He should go into Jirachi here to scout for a possible Thunder, as EO doubles back into Tyranitar and goes into Excadrill and doesn't get the paralysis rather with Body Slam. EO decides to just go for Earthquake because, you know, there's no downside to it basically. Sand is up, so Thundurus is not a switch in. As he goes into Tyranitar on the Politoed, really pressuring it here. It's quite low, as We Three Kings just goes for Scald, as EO smartly decides to save his Tyranitar's HP, as We Three Kings is forced out due to the possibility of Thunder from Reuniclus, as EO makes a great double switch out to Ferrothorn, which is going to let him get a knockoff off rather, and that means that he'll be able to set up spikes pretty freely here, and Jirachi will have to use Wish if it ever wants to get recovery. We Three Kings does switch out to Breloom as EO goes for the Thunder Wave, likely predicting the Tentacruel switch. And EO goes into Landorus on the Breloom just to pressure it a bit with Intimidate. And he goes for HP Ice here, as it doesn't do very much to Breloom at all, and is likely gonna... He's likely going to lose something to Drain Punch this turn. Assuming that We Three Kings does not switch out to Tentacruel to try and get a spin off. That's actually for that reason, if EO does want to double into Reuniclus, that is a fine play. He chooses not to. EO is playing this quite well, electing to not give any indication of his Reuniclus set until he absolutely has to. And because the way that We Three Kings plays around his Reuniclus changes based on which set it's running, obviously. And now, as Jirachi does not have its leftovers, it is much more pressured by Latios. And EO smartly doubles out to Excadrill on the Jirachi switch here, and is gonna get the Rapid Spin off pretty freely here. Oh, he elects to Earthquake just to try and punish a potential greedy move, and if I'm EO, I would just spin there. Iron Head crit does a ton. Now Keldeo is dead to another round of Sand. At this point, EO is probably gonna sack the Ferrothorn, I think, or Protect. Yeah, sorry, Protect to just get the extra Sand chip. And at this point, he's just gonna go into Tyranitar to pressure the Politoed. On the Protect again over Scald. That's pretty surprising to me. I don't see why you would just like give him a free switch into T-Tar there, but now it looks like this Tyranitar is going to claim a kill with Pursuit, as it kills the Politoed with Sand damage. It's looking pretty bleak for We Three Kings here. He's been getting insanely pressured by the powerful Sand Force Excadrill and the obvious Specs Latios. His basically everything is his Keldeo's dead to hazards. His Thundurus is basically dead to hazards plus Sand. His Tentacruel here is his best hope. He's gotta get this Rapid Spin off and kill the Tyranitar in the meantime, where EO's play, I mean, if I were in EO's position, I'd personally just crunch here and then spam rocks until it's dead. Because basically what that does is it allows you to keep your hazards up to pressure the Keldeo while still being able to hurt the Tentacruel. As he does get the crunch off here, and he gets a defense drop, which is pretty huge, as he can at this point either click crunch this turn Oh, he decided to click rocks here, which is obviously fine on his part. I believe EO's just looking to keep his rocks up at all costs, because if Keldeo does manage to get in, it can potentially claim a kill depending on whether or not it predicts correctly. And the Tentacruel is slowly chipping the Tyranitar, but it's not going to be able to kill it with Rapid Spin in time for before EO runs out of Stealth Rocks. I believe if I'm EO, I just take the kill on the Tentacruel here instead of like slowly sacrificing my Tyranitar's HP, because you're not going to be able to just PP stall this. Yeah, I'm really confused about why EO keeps clicking rocks instead of just taking the kill on the tent. Because if rocks go off and he gets the kill on the Tentacruel, he's still in a fine position, because he can sack this to Keldeo if he chooses to go into it, or just go back into drill and start pressuring again. But I suppose it's his decision of what he wants to do, because he's losing a lot of HP on this Tyranitar. Like, I believe it dies to Scald now? And, like, also... He's got 11 Stealth Rocks left, so he's definitely not gonna survive. If EO, what I would have done was, actually pursued, because at that point you chip the Tentacruel down into the range where you can spam, where you can get your rocks up going second, then go Ferrothorn to spin block with Iron Barbs. In retrospect, that would have been much better, because it also would have covered the Tentacruel switching to try and preserve HP. Yeah, I don't really understand what EO's doing here. Yeah. And then, suppose Sakuri's playing for round 5 as well, and as is Bloody Alpha and Adri. Looks like Sakuri's won this already, so... And these two are using some pretty, like, standard hyper-offensive type teams with Weatherless. Bloody Alpha's is a bit less standard with Sash, Breloom, Life Orb, Starmie, and a presumably DD Gyarados. It's like, looks to be like a Sash spam, I guess. And, I mean, it's interesting, that's for sure. I guess his play here is just like to go into Gyarados and set up, because, you should be able to take one -1 Dragon Claw. Obviously, if you're Moxie, you just go into the Jirachi and do a U-turn cycle into the Dragonite and go from there. Actually, that wouldn't work, because he'd lose to Zone in that case. If it's a Fire Punch, that's the play, I guess. Scarf Fire Punch. Moving back onto this game, let's see what's happened. Okay, so rocks aren't up, but the Tentacruel's dead. Okay, let me just... Oh, yeah, he crunched. Okay. On there. I guess that was fine. It just doesn't make too much sense, because he would have had his Tyranitar alive and rocks up. Or at least dead with rocks up if he went for the pursuit route. But regardless, he can go into Excadrill and pretty much kill something guaranteed with Iron Head, because Sandforce Iron Head is ruthlessly strong. Yeah, I mean, he does. Oh yeah, he is Gyarados, so that he does do this setup nonsense and wins the game. I don't really think that flinch mattered. Like, Dragonite would have cleaned up regardless, so whatever. So yeah, once again, this Excadrill just thrashes We Three Kings team, because if the Keldeo ever comes in on this, the Excadrill can just protect stall to kill the Keldeo. And, like, obviously Iron Head just, like, rocks the rest of the team. I mean, I'm not quite sure what he's trying to do here. I guess he's trying to go Breloom on the Protect. But I don't understand why he wouldn't just go Breloom. Oh, I get what he's doing. He's doing that and then protecting on his own. If I'm EO, I just go into Reuniclus here and then fire off an attack. Yeah, I'm not sure about staying in. Does it really knock out Breloom from 66? If that's the case, that's pretty ridiculous. Because if I remember correctly, Poison Heal Breloom runs either max HP or near max HP. He goes into Keldeo again, just continuously putting on the pressure. And what's the Latios at? It's at 42, okay. Yeah, sorry for not talking much. It's just that this game looks pretty cut and dry. Don't really see how EO could lose it. I'd be very surprised if this kills from from 72 though. Because Breloom is, well, Gibral. EO's he does not get the roll, I suppose, and EO ends up taking this game. Now, reflecting back on how he played, he did get a bit lucky with like the crit and such, and the body slams and not paralyzing the Excadrill, but he did press his advantage well with timely doubles into Excadrill and making an attempt to keep rocks up. Now it looks like Sakura and Bloody Alpha are playing. I'm expecting some more like offensive type cheese from Alpha, and Sakura is using this like Salamence team that he's been using a bit. Looking at the teams, Heatran can potentially be a threat to Sakura if it's status. This looks like Scarf or Spexments. Did not watch his prior games. I'd assume Scarf from the zone. As Sakura doubles into Slowbro on the Mamoswine. Oh, Zokaru vs. EO has also started. Zokaru is using pretty much his flagship Hippowdon balance team. This team runs Scarf, Heatran, Rocks, Hippowdon, Sash, Zam, Spikes, Pharaoh, Specs, Latios, and like standard Taunt Jellicent. And this team actually is a pretty solid matchup against Dragmag if you don't play too passively. And EO, obviously, as I just mentioned, is using Dragmag. This is just your standard, like, Rocks Garchomp. Well, it should be Rocks Garchomp, but actually, it's Scarf Garchomp on this, I believe, with Rocks Jirachi. Though, I would personally prefer Rocks Garchomp just because it gets hazards up on Excadrill. And EO does just lead with the Kyurem, wanting to, because it leads well against everything besides the Psychic types, pretty much. And, he's gonna get to just smash something with Outrage. Gets the crit on Ferrothorn, which is pretty awful for Zokaru. Because this basically gets 2 kills now, like right here. Yeah, and then at this point it looks much harder for Zokaru because of this Ferrothorn getting crit. He has the Heatran in the back, but it looks pretty tough to beat both Dragonite and Garchomp safely in this matchup. I suppose the physically defensive Hippowdon does help, though it's obviously not a 100% answer, and the Starmie is looking very menacing. Especially if it's a Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, Rapid Spin. As the Fairthorn is dead now, um, it looks like Eo's Curum has not gotten confused due to, I believe in this generation, Protect resets Outrage turns. I could be wrong. Um, and obviously this is locked, so if I'm Zokaru, I just go into Latios or Alakazam and just take it out with Dragon Pulse slash Shadow Ball if it kills, respectively. I'd assume that Shadow Ball doesn't kill, so yeah, he does go Latios. And elects to kill this. Obviously, since it does 42 normally to Pharaoh, it's banded. Takes out the Curum. At this point, if it is Rocks Jirachi, yeah, he does go under Jirachi here, and he's just gonna get his Rocks up. And he's probably just gonna, like, U-turn into Starmie here, or just hard switch, so looks to be like, I'd assume, like, Body Slam Iron Head nonsense. He, as Zokaru stays in on the Thunderbolt and Earthquakes, and now goes Jellicent on the Thunderbolt again from EO. Solid play. If I was gonna say if I'm Zokaru, I would have gone Heatran there, but this is fine. Actually I did not know Sand killed. Yeah, then that was 100% fine from Zokaru. Very good play with the Hippowdon. Looks like Zokaru's kind of taken the game back into his hands with that play, because otherwise he would have been pretty behind. And now he goes back into Garchomp here on the Fire Blast. And like I said before, I believe both of these are Scarf, as EO goes back into Magnezone on the Latios. Solid play, I suppose. If this is Flash Cannon, he does potentially get a kill. Okay, yeah, that is a lot. I assume that's Specs, because I don't think non-Specs Magnezone's Flash Cannon is doing 46 to a Hippowdon. But I guess if it's Max, yeah, no, I don't think it's doing that much. My head calc could be off. But, from here, Zokaru can just, doesn't really have to go into Heatran here necessarily. Yeah, because he can just slack off here. And I'd say, probably one more slack off before he goes into Heatran, yeah. Like he just did. Then here, I think Hippowdon's healthy enough where he can go into Heatran safely on the Flash Cannon. And now he gets a kill with Fire Blast. Or, yeah, so if I'm EO here, what I'm going to do in this context is definitely going to be, just... I want to say Stain and Thunderbolt on the HP Ice prediction, but that does seem to be a bit too hasty, considering that he's never gonna, yeah. Okay. And then from here, EO is in a very tough situation because this Garchomp cannot 2-KO Hippowdon. So he's either gotta, like, do some nonsense to, like, doubling into Dragonite on the switch to Hippowdon and then, like, killing it with Banded Outrage, I think, is a potential thing, but, like, if Zokaru's smart, he'd just sack Latios and get a kill with Zam. So, I don't really see a win path for, EO here. Well, I suppose it's not gonna be Choice Band Dragonite with fucking Choice Band Curum, but, yeah. Oh, I gotta stop the cussing, by the way. It's very bad. Zokaru is just getting EO on every turn, it seems like, and then from here, you're always gonna go into Latios and, try to force him to outrage you. Because you want to get it into a position where you can just revenge it with HP Ice Zam. At least I'd assume it's HP Ice on a balanced team like this. as he goes into Hippowdon actually. I think this is Whirlwind Hippowdon on this team, so I guess this is fine if it isn't Dragon Gem Dragonite, which is possible certainly. If it is Dragonite, then it's like potentially problematic if EO can dodge a Fire Blast with Jirachi, but Zokaru scouts just in case, and from here, Heatran is Scarf and can revenge this with HP Ice, and then Hippowdon can kill the last two with Earthquake, and Whirlwind out the Magnezone if it wants to do Magnet Rise shenanigans, force a kill there, and then like guarantee the win with Zam. But like I said, I believe the Flash Can damages Specs. Oh, Zokaru elects to go into Alakazam here, so I'm assuming it's HP Ice. He's either not or scouting for Yachi Berry, which is interesting. I believe that was a roll to kill after 2 rounds of sand, but Zokaru probably just still wins with Hippowdon the same way I was explaining before. I guess this way he does have the Heatran to pressure the zone a bit more, but shouldn't really make a difference. Obviously Zokaru goes into Heatran right here. I don't think it kills Jirachi in 1 with Earth Power, so he's gonna be trying to dodge the paralysis, I guess. Though I would probably just go into Hippowdon and just spam Earthquake, and then like after your nonsense happens and you get knocked out, it ends. I'd assume Sakura won this matchup. Yeah, he did. Going back to this, it looks like Zokaru wins this for sure. Oh, he does go into the Heatran, interestingly. I guess he doesn't want to get infinitely flinched. I'm pretty sure the odds of like avoiding the infinite flinch chain are lower. Oh, he gets Icy Winded with the Hippowdon. Don't know how much good that's gonna do. I guess EO's just trying to... So I'd assume this is just like Icy Wind, Iron Head, Thunder, or something like that. Shucka Berry. Oh, it's lefties actually, sorry. I was gonna say, because Icy Wind does run Shucka a lot, but here it's lefties. I think Shucka would make a good deal of sense on this team, as the only Scarf Landorus immunity is the Dragonite. Yeah, but we're pretty much just waiting on this to wrap up so we can get our final battle for finals. Or no, the winner of this advances to finals actually, but yeah. So EO is trying to break through this, but he is not successful. Kind of questioning why Zokaru didn't just sorry. I didn't just go into Heatran, didn't just attack with Heatran earlier, but this is still fine. Because he is going to be able to recover up again. And at this point, Jirachi doesn't really have enough Iron Heads to reasonably be able to get through this without some insane luck. Which I guess is possible since it's a Jirachi. Yeah, sorry once again for being a bit quiet. It's just a waiting game at this point. I don't think there's any other battles at the moment. I suppose there's this. I think it's for seasonal. Completely unrelated to everything else, but no, this isn't. This can't be. Oh, it's the. This is probably the Rainbow League stuff because it's mono blue versus mono blue. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's just the Rainbow League shit. And then, say GG because, Zokru ended up winning that pretty handily. And then we should be getting, yeah, Zokru versus Sakri for the second finals matchup, rather. Because, Sakri played, the Bloody Alpha dude. So if Sakri wins, he wins the Smogon tour, and if Zokaru wins, he has to play Bloody Alpha for the rights to the tour, I guess. Looking at these two teams, Zokaru is using the drag mag that EO used to, not the exact same drag mag, but a similar style, you know. They're both using Magnezone, actually. Zokaru is using a more traditional Magnezone, whereas Sakri's using a Celebi, and a Starmie with it. I'd assume that's like SD pass Celebi into a Scarf ground type. And I think I like Zokaru's Drag Mag better than the one EO brought against him last round, just because it lacks a Rocks Garchomp, which is something I like on Drag Mag a lot personally, but it's got like a better, like, I guess you could say defensive structure of it. It's Dragon Gem Latios. Do not know why he just decided to click it. Because if you're predicting him to switch into like T-Tar, you're just gonna Calm Mind. But anyways, the Lando switching out obviously means it's Scarf Garchomp. It is Rock Celebi, which is really fucking weird. Sorry again for cursing. I need to stop doing that. But so it's not even like SD pass or anything. He goes into the zone, predicting the Outrage. I guess it doesn't really trap anything, but like, well, there's a Drill that could be Scarf. In fact, it probably is Scarf Drill. So I don't know what Sakri's doing. I guess he just doesn't have anything else to pivot into this. Maybe he thought it avoided the kill. The 2 KO rather. Looking at Sakri's team, nothing's really super expendable. I guess you can sack Celebi if you want to, and then go into Garchomp. I would have just sacked Celebi to cure him the previous turn, though. Like, what's Celebi really doing for you? Like, providing a resist for something. I don't know. Yeah, I would have just sacked Celebi to cure him, but, you know, oh well. He goes into Landers, U-turns out on the Jirachi. He goes into Garchomp here. And, like I said, this should probably be a Scarf, but an interesting thing to note is that the Jirachi's not received Leftovers recovery. So it's possible that it's either Scarf Ice Punch or Shucka Icy Wind. As Sakri recognizes that, goes into Starmie, Zokuru doubles into Latios, predicting an Earthquake. As Sakri just Toxics with the Starmie and gets Dracoed. This is why I do not like Dragon Gem Latios, by the way. You can't just nuke things with fucking Specs Draco. Need to watch my tongue again. But Zokuru goes into Jirachi here, seeing that the Starmie is not offensive, and is getting up his rocks, and at this point he's just thundering the Starmie because he knows it's not going to do anything. It's at 13 now, so he's just getting his Custa Berry off. Nice. He thunders again, misses on the Celebi. The last move is obviously a Healing Wish, actually. That's cool. And it ends up being that the Celebi uses Recover as he goes into Latios here. As he Calm Minds versus the Celebi on the U-turn. As Sakura goes into Lander, so it seems he was scouting for Scarf Latios earlier, as that is what happened, and Zokaru is just like, he cannot really... he doesn't really want to sack anything here, because everything has its own uses. And I assume this is Lefty's, or the Scarf, yeah, Scarf, sorry. The Earthquakes with the Garchomp, and now this gets a kill with Dragon Claw, like, for sure. I believe that Zokaru's just trying to set up for a late game DD Dragonite sweep, which is fine. I believe that Celebi's got a 1, so if I'm Sakura, just go into it and click Stealth Rock right here, and that is what he's doing. And obviously Zokaru's gonna Dragon Claw to try and take it out. He does not. The Tyranitar is not Scarf. Interesting. He doesn't knock it below 25, so if it is Custap, I think if it's Custup T-Tar, Sakura switches out here. If it is not, he just keeps it and sacks it. So I assume that was just like Chople 4 attacks or something of that sort. As Sakura does go into his Garchomp and Dragon Claws, and keeping the Magnezone alive is coming in clutch for Zokaru here. As he goes into it, has a balloon, ends up Magnet Rising on the Dragon Claw, and Sakura Swords Dance is on the HP Fire, so it looks like this Magnezone is just unable to touch it, and unless he... Oh, it's... Okay, I'm really confused here. He didn't E-Speed with the Dragonite, so I guess it was like DD 2 attacks or something, because like E-Speed crit still can win the game, I'm pretty sure. But congratulations to Sakura for winning this tournament, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a nice day. Bye.